Hello, everyone. We're getting on into the holiday season. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah to everyone who's celebrating it. I'm Stephanie Weisman, Artistic Director and founder of The Marsh, and tonight we are having Brian Copeland. Please consider supporting MarshStream and its artists and give an end-of-the-year tax-deductible donation tonight. All donations tonight are matched. And please subscribe to the Marsh's YouTube channel. If you subscribe, we are almost at 1,000. We are waiting to break 1,000, and you could be the one to help us break that 1,000. You can see all our upcoming and archive shows at themarsh.org. Now let's welcome the inimitable, incredible, wonderful Brian Copeland. Hello, Brian!
Hello, you really are on a truck, aren't you?
Absolutely, I wouldn't lie. I never lie, Brian.
You look cold. Are you okay? You warm enough?
I'm making sure I'm warm enough by wearing a hat and a scarf. I have gloves, long underwear, winter shoes, winter socks, doubled.
Why would you do that to yourself? Travel to where it's cold.
Well, because there's no place else that I can get good enough broadband to Zoom.
You're going to have a white Christmas up there above that, aren't you?
I don't know. It's not very white right now.
Yeah. Not exactly. It's a pleasure to be on with you. It always is, because we always have so much fun. So the thing I learned so much every time I talk to you. For example, I just learned about 3 minutes ago that Christmas Eve is next Thursday. I was thinking it was a couple weeks from now. It's next Thursday, Stephanie. I haven't bought present one. It is next Thursday. Help.
So are you going to go out, or are you going to try and get it special delivery from Amazon, who maybe you just have to give gift certificates with what you bought people?
There you go. That's better. That's probably easiest, because I don't know if you can still get stuff through the mail in time. Oh, wait, no, that's ballots. You can't get to the mail in time. Never mind. I think we can get presents through all right.
Well, and you could always, like I said, just take pictures and you can put it on your beautiful Christmas tree. You know, you've got some wonderful background there. What is that?
Oh, this is the tree my son Casey and I did. We are, we're hunkered down in the East Bay, so we're sheltered in place. And it's the first time just two of us have a tree. We're hibernating together. It's the first time just two of us have had a tree together. So we went out, we bought it, and we put Christmas music on, and we decorated it ourselves. I've got boxes of ornaments from all the years, and all the years of decorating the tree with the kids when the kids were little. And it was nice to be able to do it with my 26-year-old, just the two of us. That was really, really special. I was thinking about the stuff I miss about the kids being small during Christmas Eve. And the thing I miss the most is being up at 3 o'clock in the morning putting together Barbie crap.
You really do?
3 o'clock in the morning putting together Barbie houses and Barbie cars and all of that stuff.
So Brian, are you actually saying that you miss that, or you don't miss that?
I do miss that. I really do. At the time, I didn't think I was going to miss it, because there would always be a piece missing. There'd always be a piece. You got it almost together, and there's a piece that's supposed to be here. So I didn't think I'd miss it, but I do. I miss that. Putting together tricycles and seeing the kids' faces on Christmas morning when they wake up, and Santa was here the night before. They're fond memories. They're fond memories that went by much too quickly.
Well, they went by so quickly, but you do have the thing of grandchildren potentially someday coming up.
Bite your tongue. I'm much too young to be a pop-pop. Nobody can touch me that. When are you going to be a grandfather? When I'm old, I will never be called grandpa. They can call me Pappy or something else, but never grandpa. Just sounds so older.
But maybe you would enjoy it, because you'd be able to be. Maybe if you got a grandchild who likes Barbie dolls, you'll be back in.
I'll be back in it. I've got a fur baby. You haven't seen my little fur baby, have you? I got a little Bichon Frise.
I've not seen it. No.
Oh, I'll have to show her to you. I'd have her out here now, but she's just too. You know how puppies are. She's just too squirmy. She's much too squirmy to sit. How many dogs have you got these days?
3, and together they weigh almost 300 pounds.
Wow.
And they all
What are?
like cuddle up with us on the bed, and there's not any room. You can't move.
I
Just
guess not.
just you and all that dog.
And how wonderful they smell when they're wet, huh? After they've been out, when you let them out after it's been raining, you let all three of them back in. It has this certain bouquet, doesn't it?
Brian, my dogs don't smell. Do yours?
I didn't mean that they stink. It's just a certain smell that you only get. If I say there are two things that I can say in terms of senses, and you'll know what I'm talking about. One is wet dog. If I say wet dog, everybody knows what a wet dog smells like. The second is hot dog water.
What?
Hot dog water, the water you boil hot dogs in. If
Ugh.
I say hot dog water, yeah, it sounds disgusting, but you know exactly what it tastes like, don't you?
Ugh.
Because when you were 9, it was a bear. It was a bet.
But I have to say, my dogs are very short-haired dogs, so they probably don't smell as much as your long-haired, foo-foo, fluffy Sean Frise.
She is a foo-foo dog. And what's funny about Bichons is, you know, like every dog was bred for a purpose. Like we had a dachshund for a long time. About 15 years we had a dachshund. And dachshunds were bred for the purpose of being able to get into holes to get gophers and moles and things, which is why they were long and thin. You know, retrievers were bred to, you know, when somebody is out hunting, to go out and grab the duck or whatever and bring it back. Bichons were bred, and I'm not kidding, Bichons were bred for the sole purpose of sitting on the laps of rich French people. I'm not making that up. I looked it up. That is their purpose. That is what they're bred for. Not to retrieve, not to do anything of any use. Is to sit on the lap of a rich French person. I didn't know this before. I know it now.
Well, now that you know that, would you have still gotten the dog? That
Oh,
breed?
cute, but she's just needy. She's so incredibly needy. She's back there whining right now because I'm not back there.
I have a friend who had a Bichon who would not walk on tile floors because it didn't like the sound of it and it scared her.
I don't like that sound on tile floors.
But they'd have to carry the dog around the kitchen because it wouldn't walk on the floor.
Oh, man.
And just one more dog thing before we leave. I don't know if we ever discussed this before in all the years that we've known each other, but my family, my parents, my sister, between us, we had 7 dachshunds.
7?
Yep.
All regular size dachshunds? Or miniatures? Or
the first one was standard. The rest were miniatures.
Uh-huh. I didn't think I would like them, and then Casey got one. My now 26-year-old got one for his 10th birthday, and the dog lived to be 15, and just the best dog, the best disposition. They're just sweethearts. Probably get another one at some point.
Yep. Well, Brian, I want you now to tell us a little bit about the performing part of Brian Copeland.
Okay.
What are you up to?
A couple of things. Of course, right here on Sunday with the waiting period, and especially this time of year, it's important, I think, for people to see it because people are dealing with depression and mental illness more during the holiday season and addiction problems as well during the holiday season and throughout the rest of the year. You know, we look at it as being joyous and festive, but for a lot of people, it's not. It's a reminder of things that are not quite so great. So that will be right here at what are we doing at 7 o'clock? 7 o'clock? I think it's 7. We'll find out.
I don't know.
You just read off every show for the next 3 weeks, and I'm going, how is she remembering all of this? But anyway, it will be on Sunday night. Sunday night at actually at 5, I think is what time it is. But you can check the listings and find out. And the other show is my Christmas show, the Jewelry Box, that debuted at the Marsh and has been at the Marsh for the last 5 years. And we're doing something a little bit different this year. And we're working in partnership with SF Playhouse. And we shot a 3-camera shoot. They turned it into their stage into a sound stage. Got 3 professional camera folks in, and we did it like we were taping a cable special, but with no audience. And I was kind of nervous about how is this going to work if, you know, without an audience. But all the shows of the waiting period I've done here, we've done without audience, and I just kind of hope they're laughing where they're supposed to be laughing. But we shot it. It went really, really well, and the critics have just been lovely and very, very kind. So it's available at sfplayhouse.org all the way through Christmas. So it's family friendly, by the way, too. So you can sit with the kids and watch it as well.
So someone has a question, which I'll let
Yeah.
you in. I bought the SF Playhouse performance, but can't remember when it's supposed to be on. When? And where's the link? Thanks.
It's on demand. So it's on whenever you want it to be on. That's the thing. It's on demand. In terms of the link part, that I can't answer for you. You'll have to give them a call and shoot them an email. But it's on demand, so you can watch it whenever you want. And here's the other thing: is you can if you buy it, you can watch it as many times as you want between now and Christmas. It's not like you buy it and then it expires in 12 hours or whatever. Like if you buy something from Uverse or from Comcast. If you buy it, you can watch it as many times as you want, up to 11:59 on Christmas night. So, but contact the sfplayhouse.org if you're having trouble with the link. But it's on demand. You can watch it whenever you're not watching the MarshStream.
But if you use the link through the MarshStream, if you go to the Marsh website and you want to see it, and you go through the MarshStream, or I'm sorry, the Marsh website to purchase it, then the Marsh gets a part of the proceeds. So you are continuing to support the Marsh if you get it through our website. So I encourage everyone to do that.
That makes it easier, actually, if you're having trouble with it. So yeah, so go to the Marsh website and click the link there. Is that another question?
I'm sorry?
Is that another question that just popped up? I don't know, my glasses.
I think that Brian, our wonderful producer, is giving people information about what to do and how to do it. Because Brian Williamson is so good at this stuff.
I keep telling him I think we might be related because Grandma's maiden name was Williamson.
Are you kidding me?
No, her maiden name was Williamson. So he's got my first name and Grandma's maiden name.
Wow.
So I think going back, we're related. We're cousins or something.
Must be.
Can't you see the resemblance?
Huh?
Can't you see the resemblance?
You look exactly alike.
Just like Patty Duke. We're like identical cousins.
So tell us a little bit about, so you premiered, what year did you premiere the jewelry box at the Marsh?
It was 2015. And of all of my shows, it's my favorite show to do. Because it's I want to say it's light, but there are parts of it that are emotional, that are certainly emotional. But it's so different from my other plays where I deal with a lot of really heavy issues. And it's different in that every other play that I've done and I did this in collaboration with David Ford, as I do all my plays. David and I work together on. We develop together, then David directs. Usually I'll write just a bunch of scenes, and then we'll sit together after we've written a bunch of scenes, and we'll put them. We have them on index cards, and I'll put them on my bulletin board, and we'll arrange things to see what should go where. And then I need to write a scene here to bridge this one to this one, and that's kind of like how the process works. But with this show, this is the only show that ever came out a fully formed baby, is how I put it. I sat down and I just remembered the story. It was kind of a traumatic story, actually, when I was. It takes place when I'm 6 years old, and we had just moved to California from Texas. We had 4 moves that year, from Akron, Ohio, where I was born, to Fort Hood, Texas, to Berkeley, and then we ended up in East Oakland. We were there for a year before eventually coming to San Leandro. And that play, I sat down and it just poured out of me. I mean, there were tweaks here and there, and a joke that doesn't work here, or maybe a joke that might work better there, those kinds of things. But it's the process for that was very different than the process for the other shows that we've done, including one we have coming up, hopefully when we're allowed back in our theater in sometime soon, called Grandma and Me.
I cannot wait for that. But people are asking questions, So
Okay.
Stephanie's MarshStream is a interview show with performance excerpts. So yes, indeed, Brian will perform an excerpt from the jewelry box.
I will.
In a bit. So don't you worry. It's a combo show. So did you say why you think it came out that way? Why was
Um,
it such an easier flow than the other ones?
I don't know. Maybe it was because of the fact that all of my other shows deal with some kind of trauma in some way. You've got, Not a Genuine Black Man, which deals with racism and the trauma that I dealt with as a kid with that. And you've got The Waiting Period, which is dealing with, with depression and suicide. And you've got The Scion, which deals with privilege and murder here in San Leandro. But this one it's a Christmas show. It's a Christmas show, and there weren't as many hills to climb, because when you're dealing with really controversial subjects, David and I have found that you kind of have to be. You can hit very hard with what it is that you want to say, but you just have to be careful in terms of how you do it. You don't want to turn people off. You don't want people to be too emotionally traumatized by what it is that you're talking about, what it is you're discussing. And there was none of that. There was no heavy lifting with this play. It's what it is in a very long-winded way trying to say.
And what a wonderful play it is. It may not have been heavy lifting, but it is so emotional. So, it gets you in the heart. It gets you in the heart.
Yeah, I was practicing it, because I only got to do it one time this year. Normally, we do it at the Marsh, and I do, a dozen performances or so, and I only got to do it the one time this year. Actually, it was 3 times that we shot it, but I consider it one time. It was all like in a row. And I was trying to figure out why I'm having such a hard time this year finding the spirit. And I'm Mr. Christmas. I love Christmas. I love the holidays. And for some reason this year, I'm just not there. And so I was kind of practicing a little bit before we came out, practicing what I'm going to do for you tonight. And it hit me. That's it. That got me in the spirit. So here I am.
Well, maybe we should do it, and then we can get down with finding out. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why you might not be in the spirit. We all have a lot of reasons we're not going to be in the spirit this year. It's quite a horrifying year, but we have to find it within ourselves to find whatever joy we can, right, Brian?
That's a beautiful way of putting that. That is a beautiful way of putting it. You should write another show. When are you doing your show on the MarshStream?
I don't know. I've been so busy trying to stay alive, keep the marsh alive. There's not a lot of, and having a creative spurt. So I'm in spiritually, creatively spurting away.
Good.
Because I do all these wonderful things on MarshStream that I never got to do before, like interviewing you in front of a Christmas tree.
Well,
So
you've heard me speak enough over the course of the last 15 years, which is wonderful. 16 years, actually. You believe that? Not a Genuine Black Man premiered 16 years ago. Can you believe that? 16 years ago. That it feels like 2 weeks. I mean, that's. I was telling my daughter when my daughter turned 25. The first 25 years of your life take forever. The second 25, blink of an eye.
exactly.
And when I get to my second 25, I'll know if that's true.
I know that's you've at least got a decade before you hit your second 25.
Thank you. I knew you'd play along. I will do a couple of minutes for this. I'm going to have to ask you to excuse the lighting, excuse the sound. We're in my family room, and I am not. I don't have stage lighting and whatnot. I don't have a million feet that I can play around with, but I'll do a few minutes of it, and hope that you like it enough. And if you do, then go to the Marsh website and get yourself a ticket so you and your family can watch. Okay? All right. I think that the word Christmas conjures up a different memory for everybody. Some picture multicolored lights spread out across the city like a carpet of jewels. Others are reminded of the smell of pine as the family hunts for the perfect tree. Still others hear the giddy laughter of children as they tear red and green paper from presents signed crinkle. When I think of Christmas, an image pops into my head. Wood. An oblong box made of deep, rich mahogany, gleaming as it reflects the overhead fluorescent light. A gold light shimmers as it beckons me to open it. I gingerly lift the lid to find 4 red velvet compartments, 3 small squares for earrings and charms, 1 rectangular space for necklaces and watches. The velvet is cheap, the wood fake, but to my 6-year-old eyes, the jewelry box is positively majestic. I grasp it firmly with both hands and begin to lift when, ow! You no cat said not to touch nothing. Grandma towers over me in all her glory. 49 years of stern Birmingham, Alabama sass. It's a Sunday afternoon in December of 1970. We're in the white front discount store on Hagenberger by the Oakland Coliseum. It's me, Grandma, my little sisters, Tracy, Delisa, Tanya, who was born just 2.5 weeks ago on Thanksgiving Day, and of course, Mom. So don't do that in here. My mother, Carolyn. Refinement, social graces, pretension. So prim and proper that if we said the word ain't in her presence, she heard the F word. She always called Grandma Sue, and Grandma called her Cat. No hitting in here. Thank God. You can spank him when we get home. Ooh, Brian's in trouble. Ow! No, you're supposed to act in public. If you don't, I get a switch to remind you. Now, for those of you who don't know, a switch is what Black people use for discipline before the creation of Child Protective Services. We ain't got money to pay for this, y'all, Greg. I'm not going to tell you again, keep your hands at your sides. Look, but don't touch. Torture. My mother always liked to go to stores to look. We had no money to speak of, but she always found pleasure in dreaming. And a white front had a lot to look at. To the right were shelves of styrofoam heads sporting bogus hair under a big sign that read, Carefree Fashion Wigs, $16.97. For $22.97, you could actually upgrade to the blonde Dutch boy look. To the left, the ladies' clothing department, where the mix and match sportswear collection is on sale. Red and white striped bell bottoms, just $3.97 a pair. Remember those things? Could want to look like an isosceles triangle. For an additional $2.97, you can accessorize with a genuine suede fringe bag. Up ahead, rows of portable black and white TVs and color floor models were all tuned to roller derby, where Joni Weston and the San Francisco Bay Bombers are taking on the Midwest Pioneers. Women skating and fighting. You've come a long way, baby. Girls sweatshirts, $2.97. Boys knit cardigans, $3.97. Toasters, $16.97. Waffles, $22.97. GE solid state stereo systems were $479.97. Now, were shoppers really going to go, $480 out of EXO? Oh, $479.97. Well, that's a whole different story entirely. In the corner was a candy cane lane with a long line of impatient children waiting to see Santa Claus. There was something different about Santa this year. Tracy noticed it first. Hey, Santa's not colored. Black, Tracy, we don't say colored anymore. Well, Santa's not black either. Well, this one is. This one? What do you mean, this one? No, look at me, you're the one that started this. Well, you see, Santa can't be everywhere, so he has helpers to talk to children. Are the elves that make the toys black too? That's it, don't look at me. Yes, the elves are black and Santa's helpers are black too, yes. So they're like slaves? You ask too many questions about Santa Claus, he ain't gonna bring you nothing here. The first Santa threat of the season. During the month of December, Santa threats proved more effective than switches when it came to maintaining discipline. Let's go see Santa's black helper. My sister pulls my mother in the direction of the candy cane lane. Delisa follows, pushing the stroller. My gaze returns to the jewelry box. A small white tag dangles from a string on its side. Can I see how much it is? Grandma picks it up. It's 11.97. It's perfect. Well, what you talking about? For Mom, for Christmas. We had moved 4 times in that year of 1970, from Akron, Ohio, to Fort Hood, Texas, to Berkeley, and now here to East Oakland. We left a lot of things behind in our moves. My mother had left her jewelry box. So now her costume jewelry was strewn haphazardly across the top of her dresser. A new jewelry box would make my mother smile. Grandma, can I have $11.97? Stupid question. Grandma could pinch a penny until Lincoln had a cerebral hemorrhage. And then we were kids and we wanted to mail something. We'd say, Grandma, do you have a stamp? She'd say, yeah, 29 cents. So how come I never got a sea monkey when I was a kid? Please, pay it back. How you gonna pay me back? I'll get a job. Doing what? Work? All right, I'll tell you what. You get a job and you earn the money. And I'll bring you back here, you can buy it yourself. Okay, I will. I'll get a job and I'll earn the money myself. And that is the opening of the jewelry box. I'm not going to give any more away, but the rest of the story is you follow me on my odyssey as I try to get that $11.97 by Christmas Eve. So go to the Marsh website and get your ticket and help. You actually help 2 theaters at the same time. You help the Marsh and you as well as helping SF Playhouse. So Stephanie, there you are.
I'm here. Well, that was wonderful, Brian. Wonderful.
Thank you. It's so weird to do in my family room. I practice in my family room, so it's kind of like doing it by myself, except for there are 1,000 or more people that are watching.
Exactly. You can imagine each one of your Christmas decorations watching you.
Mm-hmm. Each one. Well, I saw people were popping up with questions, so if anybody's got any questions, I am happy to answer questions.
Right.
For questions.
I'm not sure I see any questions yet, but please, everyone, put some in the chat. So there's 2 reasons I wanted you to come on tonight. One was because I wanted everyone to see what a wonderful section, what a wonderful show Jewelry Box is. I mean, I can't believe that no matter how many times I see it, I am always so engaged and enjoy it so much.
Thank you.
It does not grow old. It just grows old like wine. Better and better. You find all the deeper tastes in it each time.
Thank you so much. People cry at the end. I cry at the end. It makes me cry at the end.
Every time?
Pretty close. I have tears in my eyes, and people will notice I have tears in my eyes, and it's for real. There's just that moment, and I don't want to give it away, but there's just a very special moment, and the music that accompanies the moment when you put those 2 things together, it's just where's the Kleenex? Remember the first time I did it opening night, it was like just I'm finished, and all I'm hearing is. I'm finishing the show. I'm like, does that mean they liked it or they hate it?
Well, we do have a couple comments.
Okay.
From Carol in Oakland. This is an excellent story performance. I've seen it at least 2 times. Thank you, Brian, for making the innocence of being a child alive, visible, and how important it is to respond to obstacles in a way that builds strength and character.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. Because this one, as I said, it came out as a fully formed baby, but I wasn't sure exactly how it was going to be received. Because among other things, one of the odd things about this play is there are no black, to my knowledge, with the exception of Medea, who I don't count, there are no Black Christmas stories. This has been compared to, have you seen A Christmas Story? the one from the 80s. This has been called the Black Christmas Story. But other than that, there are no real African American Christmas stories that I'm aware of. So I was not quite sure how that was going to be received. You know, and it takes place in a tough neighborhood and all these things, and all these people humor. And there was so much kindness. There was a lot of kindness. People humoring this 6-year-old who's trying to earn money.
So, but are there Kwanzaa stories?
Not that I'm aware of. And again, I could totally be wrong. I mean, but not that I'm aware of, not that are dedicated exclusively to Kwanzaa. There are stories or episodes of TV shows I've seen where Kwanzaa happens to be celebrated as a side plot, you know, to what's going on. But an actual, you know, story like, you know, Christmas stories where you've got it, you know, It's a Wonderful Life and White Christmas and you know, all of the stories that we love, Christmas Carol, all the stories that we love every year. None of them, there may be African American versions of them, but there is, to my knowledge, has not been a play or a movie that's been written specifically about Christmas, except for Medea, and I just don't count Medea. Sorry, Tyler.
Understand. So Catherine Jackson says, agreed, I've seen it once before, and it's heartwarming and emotional. And she also says, except the original biblical one, pretty sure the 3 wise men would have been black or brown men being from the Middle East.
Yeah, in all likelihood. I'll tell you something else I read the other day, and that is they figure by the description of the star that Jesus was probably born in October as opposed to December. So
there's all kind of questions about that origin story, isn't there?
Oh, there are all kinds. It gets retconned all the time. It gets changed. Well, we're supposed to be getting what they're calling a Christmas star on the 21st of December. Jupiter and Saturn are going to be lined up in a position they haven't been since the Middle Ages, and it's going to look like one big bright star in the sky. So look for that. And where you are up in Trinity, you're going to get some beautiful views up there.
Yeah, I can't wait. Except I am coming back, but I hopefully will be back for Christmas. Will it last long? Is it just on the 21st, or will we have a couple of days to see this?
I don't know. I think what I read was just the 21st, but I don't know. I have to do more reading about it. But it was the 21st. I think it's just that. I think it's just that one day, but I could be wrong.
Darn. You know, Brian, I have to say, I don't really know the Kwanzaa story. Can you tell me the Kwanzaa story?
No. Don't put me on the spot like that. The shame on me. No, I can't tell you the Kwanzaa story. I can tell you that Kwanzaa was originally celebrated. I believe it was a professor at UC Santa Cruz who came up with the idea of celebrating Black empowerment and cooperative economics, where Blacks support other African Americans in terms of business and in terms of community. It starts the day after Christmas, the 26th. And when the kids were little, I used to do it with them. You know, it goes for a week. It's the 26th to New Year's Eve, and it ends with a feast. But it's like I used to do it, and then it was just too exhausting after Christmas and everything. It was just too exhausting to do it. So now I feel guilty because it's been years since I've celebrated Kwanzaa.
It's kind of like piling it on. Well, it's kind of like Jewish people. If you celebrate Hanukkah for 8 days and then you go celebrate Christmas, I guess. Okay. Then if you added Kwanzaa.
I know, and I've got a question for you to answer for me. Okay, Hanukkah is spelled with an H. What is the C spelling?
Well, see, there's the thing. Hanukkah is spelled like, in fact, somebody said to me, I spelled it wrong. It's like Hanukkah spelled, I don't know if there's a right way to spell it. There's a million ways. You can spell it Channukah. You can spell it Hannukah or Hunukkah. It's just like spelled a million different ways. And I don't know if there's a right way. And I don't think there's a wrong way as long as you're close.
So there's a funny video that's going around. Smokey Robinson was asked to make a happy birthday video for a woman who grew up across the street from him when they were kids, and he was supposed to wish her a happy Hanukkah, but what he got was the C spelling. And so he said, he comes on and says, "Hey, it's Phil. I know you haven't seen me since we were kids, but I just wanted to say Happy Chinooka. Don't know what Chinooka is. I never heard of Chinooka, but happy Chinooka to you." It was going around viral.
Well,
The nicest man on the planet. I was his opening act too. Nicest human being on the planet. But Chinooka.
well, it's the way Jewish people say the ch. It's it's not ch. It's ha. So there's a lot of ch's that are pronounced like ha, Hanukkah, Hanukkah.
So that's how you say. I don't think I could do that. Hanukkah.
Hanukkah.
Hanukkah. Can I do it without a chest cold? That way. Hanukkah. Is that close?
Yeah. Who knows? I don't know if they really say it that way, but I'm just saying that's where the ch comes because there's so much of that in Hebrew and Yiddish and stuff like that. Okay, we've got that. Some more questions here.
Okay.
I've always wondered what Brian minds with himself to do these amazing performances week after week. I was lucky enough to see him do Grandma and Me live back in the old days, like in the 1910, and I found it amazing. Where does he go to find it within himself to go there for each of his plays? They're emotionally so powerful, and that's from Laura.
Hi, Laura. Yeah, 2010. That was Not a Genuine Black Man. Grandma and Me will be out when Gavin Newsom says it can come out, I guess. and that's when we'll be out at the Marsh. It's kind of weird because for years I did stand-up. I did straight stand-up in clubs, and I just mentioned Smokey Robinson. I toured with Smokey and folks like that for years, and it was just all about comedy. And people would say to me, and a couple of producers say to me, you should try to do some characters. And I said, I can't do characters. There's no way I could come up with and do characters. And when I came up with this idea that I wanted to do a show about what it was like to be the only African-American in a white town and the things growing up, and someone connected me with David Ford, David got me to do characters. And David's big thing when he worked with I've worked with him anyway, is he won't let me scratch the surface. Everything is go deeper. Okay, that's good, but you can go deeper. No, I know you can go deeper than that. And I think that's where the depth and the things that are really painful and the things that are really gut wrenching and things that you would never tell another soul, but I will tell you on Friday and Saturday at the Marsh. It comes from David making me mine and go as deeply as I can go inside myself. When we're working on a particular piece.
Yep. Yeah, David's incredible with the range. It's amazing how David works and how he doesn't intervene in your own story. He just expands it. He's like a magician that doesn't get involved with himself, just using these amazing skills he has to bring the stories out in other people.
I always say about David Ford, were it not for him, Not a Genuine Black Man would have been 2 hours of really good intentions.
Instead, it's how many years now of?
Oh God! Well, we first opened it 16 years ago. Yeah, and it'll be 17 years ago in April, and I'm sure we'll bring it back. But fortunately, I shouldn't say fortunately, we don't know yet, but we've had a very rough 4 years. So hopefully, some of the nastiness will go away with the new year and with the new government that will be installed on the 20th of January. I'm counting the seconds.
Exactly.
The seconds. I know that I'm not alone.
And someone asked, why does every item for purchase end with 67 cents? Very funny. I love the excerpt and really look forward to seeing the entire show. I'm also looking forward to Philippa's class, right? Philippa Kelly is going to bring her class, her Berkeley class, is asked him to go to your show, and you're going to go in there. Did that work out, Brian? You're going to go do a little Zoom interview with Philippa in her class?
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to. Absolutely. But don't bring your class anywhere. No, don't bring the class. Have them all watch it on Zoom.
It's a Zoom
Oh, okay.
mutual experience.
Okay. All right. But yeah, I'd be happy to. Just shoot me an email through briancopeland.com, and you can always reach me there, and we'll see if we can make time work. But I'm happy to do. I just did this the other day. There were a high school group that the class all watched Jewelry Box on Zoom, and then we did about an hour Q&A afterwards. So I'm always happy, that when I'm happy when young people are into and excited about and exposed to theater, because theater as an art form generally skews older. As a general rule, it skews older. And I like to see the diversity, and I really like to see, I love to see 20-something kids who are actually willing to come out and, rather than all the other things they could be, doing, come out and sit for 2 hours and see a play. To me, that's the coolest.
It is, but I think Philippa Kelly's is not the seniors of high school; it's the seniors on the other end.
Oh, you said seniors, and so I'm thinking seniors.
Well, I just thought, and yes,
well, then in that case, I won't do a Q&A with the actors. Philip and Kelly, I absolutely. The seniors on the other end are more than welcome. In fact, that's I was talking about, that's mainly who the audience is. It tends to skew older. And what the cool part of that is, there are cool parts of those life. The cool part on that is that because of life experience, they will pick up nuances. There are references I can make that they'll get that the kids won't. So it works all the way around.
Yeah, I see. Laura says that my old days I met before pre-pandemic, and yes, Laura, I was just joking around. I'm not a stand-up comedian, but sometimes I joke around, but maybe it doesn't work so well. Oh well.
Those of us who are comics joke around, and it doesn't work so well either.
So Lori also says, it's rare to hear of any original Christmas story. I applaud you for bringing your Christmas story to fruition.
Thank you. Well, I hope that you will go to the Marsh and click to the Marsh, so that way the Marsh gets a little taste, and help raise money for the Marsh. We're doing this. We're doing something every single day with MarshStream, and we've got to be able to keep our theater. We have to have the theater to be there by the time we're allowed to get into it. So please come on out. See, I'm used to saying come out. Don't come out. Stay home. Stay home and watch it in the comfort of your home. You can pop popcorn. I got a fire going over here. Heck, I'm going to watch it as soon as we're done.
So Brian, so we are going to do the last waiting period of the year on Sunday.
Yeah.
And we wanted to do that also because, the waiting period. Tell us a little bit about the waiting period, and we wanted to make sure that people who are stressed out, depressed, all the things you can be all year, and it's harder during this pandemic, and I don't know how hard it might be for people during the holidays, being isolated and surrounded by illness and fear and economic problems.
You open the paper and there are, California hit a record yesterday. I haven't seen the numbers for today yet in terms of infections and in terms of death. 4,000 people died yesterday. 4,000 Californians, I think it was, died yesterday. And it's like, it's surreal. And if you've not seen the waiting period, that it's probably my deepest show. No, probably about it. It is my deepest show. I deal with depression. And I have since I was a kid. And what the waiting period is a suicidal bout of depression I went through back in 2008. And I bought a gun. I went to a gun store and bought a .32 caliber Beretta Tomcat that I was going to use to end my life. And the thing is, in California, there is a 10-day waiting period before you can get your hands on a firearm. And what the waiting period is about that 10 days and what happened during that 10 days and what turned me around. Now, did it cure me of my depression? No, of course not. but it certainly made me look at things and think of things in a different way. And it got me to ask for help. And that's really the whole point of the whole thing is, if you're struggling, you're not the only one who deals with this. Talk to somebody, tell somebody. And it's pretty amazing, some of the stories that I hear from people who were just, were right there, were ready to go and harm themselves. And then somebody brought them to the show, and they ended up going to see a therapist or a clergy person or a brother or sister or somebody and say, look, I'm in trouble. And what finally got me, and that was a story I played with for a long time about whether or not I should do it or not. And if I was going to tell that story, how could I tell that story? And so immediately when David and I set out to do this, we said, okay, our trick is we have to do a play about depression that's not a depressing play. So there's as much humor in this as there is, what I hope is useful information, and a real seriousness about what the emotions and the effect are, the effect and the things people go through who deal with this illness. But I played with the idea for a while about whether or not I should tell this story. We opened in 2012. And then the nephew of a friend of mine, 15-year-old kid up in Oakley, who had been struggling for a long time, laid down on the railroad tracks in front of a moving train. His name was Colton Fink, and I was dedicated the show to Colton. I never met him. His aunt is a dear friend of mine. And I thought, maybe some 15-year-old kid, if I tell my story, maybe some 15-year-old kid will say, if he can talk about this, I can talk about this. And so that's it. So if you're free on Sunday, please join us. Please join us.
So Brian, could you put what time, how it works to see the waiting period in the chat? People are asking.
Brian Williams.
Brian Williamson, not Brian Copeland. Brian Williamson, the magnificent producer. If you could put it in the chat so people can find it. Brian and the Marsh got together, and after it had premiered and it got the man jumping out of the chair, and then we're saving lives, which was, something, the arts have impact on lives, but you never actually know exactly what's happening. And then when Brian and the Marsh started getting letters that, someone had thought their brother was in trouble, and so they saw this show, and then, actually they saw the show and realized their brother was in trouble. Yeah. And they did an intervention, and his brother, who was indeed going to commit suicide, they helped him through it, and he didn't. Because of that, and I think he's still alive, and he got through it. And that title, The Waiting Period, it's like, it's about if you can just wait long enough to get to the other side. And people who have depression know how terrible it is, and waiting might not be a possibility because of all the pain, but hopefully they can get help, and that they can find a way to wait, because if you get to the other side of it, there could be another side with a brighter future that doesn't feel so awful, because the depression is, in some ways, it's chemical, caused by whatever trauma and stuff like that. I'm not trying to be a doctor here, but what I am saying is that because of this, we got together, and we have been doing it for free on the stage for how many years now?
We decided to do it for free after Robin Williams died, and that was 2014. So we started in January 2015. So we've been doing it almost 6 years for free at the theater through donations. We have a GoFundMe. You can donate, and that's tax deductible. We've done it, people drop off money and drop off donations to see the show. But we've also had a lot of wonderful corporate sponsors. Fremont Bank sponsored us. My friend Clint Riley sponsors us every single year. Lots and lots of businesses in the community want to support this because we're finally taking mental illness seriously as the serious health problem that it is, whereas traditionally it has been looked at as a character flaw. And it's not. You can't help it any more than you could help, if you had, muscular dystrophy or something. It's just a disease that some of us are have to struggle to live with.
Yeah. And hopefully, and what we've been finding is that hopefully this show might help or might
Mhm.
help those that see people who are in similar situations.
Well, that's the thing that I hear from a lot of people too, is that it's really hard if you're somebody who struggles with depression. It's very difficult to articulate that and articulate what it feels like and what's going on with you. And they say the show does that for them. That's what I think is cool, is people who are struggling who will bring somebody. I had a woman who brought her husband kicking and screaming to get, she suffers, he doesn't, he didn't want to see this isn't about me. And on the way home, after 17 years of marriage where he'd never asked her, he turned to her and said, "Wow, is that what you go through? Is that what you deal with?" And she said it was the first conversation, because whenever she'd be in about, he'd like, "Oh, get over it. Oh, come on. Sun's shining outside. What are you laying around for?" And it changed. It fundamentally changed their relationship. If in fact, he was able to understand her through seeing this. And the other story, and this is the last one I'll tell. I don't go long, but the other story that it will touch me forever is there was a woman in San Francisco who had decided that she was going to jump off the Golden Gate Bridge. And she was in a cafe in the city having a latte, and her plan was this is her last coffee, and she's going to drive to the bridge and she's going to jump. And it's a Sunday, and the pink section happens to be out at this cafe, and the pink section's open, and there's a picture of me, and it says that I'm doing this play impression, and it's free. And so she thinks, so maybe I should see that. Well, I don't know. I'll flip a coin. So she flips a coin. Heads, she goes and sees the show. Tails, she goes to the bridge and she jumps. So it comes up heads. And she said she came and she saw the show and she cried and she got the message of tell someone. That's the message, tell someone. And she went from the marsh to her sister's house and said, here's what I was going to do today. And I don't know how she's doing now, but the fact that she was willing to have the courage to tell somebody, I think that's a good start. Now she's doing well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Just amazing what this show does. And also just all your shows and all the solo performances that give a place for people to see their experience or understand the experience of others, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. That is exactly it. I mean, I look at Dan Hoyle's work, and Dan Hoyle is just an absolute genius. I mean, there's no other word to describe him. He's just a genius. I mean, every time I look at his work, I think, if I could one day write something half that good. But he has this way of just putting on like literally jumping into the skin and putting on the skin of another character and becoming that person, so you can see the world, whether you agree with them or not, see the world through that person's eyes, and that's a gift. And there are so many gifted performers at the Marsh. So that's my way of saying, put money in the tip jar.
Yeah, keep us going. It's crazy. We've lost 70% of our earned income. And in
Oh,
the first 9 months of MarshStream, which we have basically almost completely given away for free, we've had over 75,000 viewers on Zoom and
wow.
30,000 viewers on YouTube.
That's
So,
amazing.
but it's all been for free. We're just doing it for free. So,
Okay, so help us out so we have a theater to go back to. So put some money in the tip jar again. It is tax deductible. So help us out so you can come out and see a lot of this wonderful entertainment in person as soon as we're allowed to. As soon as we're allowed to.
exactly, in both our theaters, San Francisco and
And
Berkeley.
Berkeley. And in Berkeley.
So Is there any, let's finish up. We're almost to the end of our show already. Can you believe it?
That was fast. It always goes fast.
Thank goodness. It'd be awful if it went slow.
Well, I want to say happy holidays to you and to yours, and you can get out of the car now and go in the house where it's warm.
I'm not next to my house. If I was next to my house, I'd be in it. I'm like 10 miles away in front of this country store.
Oh, wow. So are you safe out there? And you just got to look out for bears.
Well, I mean, there's absolutely no one here. And usually I bring one of my 100-pound dogs with me. Tonight, I have the great pleasure of having my husband in the driver's seat, right next to me.
Okay. He's a little bit better than the 300-pound dogs. You can feel much safer. Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for the opportunity you've given me and so many performers over the course of the last, how many years now?
It's 31 and a half.
31 and a half, and you're 32. How did that happen?
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
You and me, a decade to 25. I've got a decade to 32.
Well, I finally got in the spirit, so thank you. I found the spirit. I found my holiday spirit. I'm going to go and bake some cookies or sing some carols or do something Christmassy.
Well, that sounds like fun. Thank you so much, Brian, for joining us. Make sure you get to see the jewelry box on the digital black box. Buy your tickets through the Marsh. Check us out on Sunday for the waiting period. Let people know about both the festivities, and those you might be worried about, have them watch both. It's a great combo. Thanks, Brian. Hello to your family and everyone. Have a wonderful holiday.
It happens, right? You're on your way to a very important meeting.
The right one, and finally, I turn to the place I always turn when I'm utterly lost and desperate.
Livelier. Can you do something a bit livelier? Of course I can.
We need to talk to you right now. We just need a momento. You can do your homework later.
I composed this song in prison.
Walking down the street, going to the theater. I mean, I had many breakfasts at Venus, and then I
read a little excerpt from it right now.
Excerpt. I love that word. Excerpt.
And she would call me like from self-help home. She'd go, "They have their Sabbath on Fridays. Did you know that?"
2, 3, 4. And up.
Your ability to be online, pre-check how you look on camera, and also check for glasses. You see how much glare is on the...
Know that we are one.
It sounds like hell, if you know what I mean. But for some reason, we call it living the dream.
Okay, 069, and I don't want any of your smart aleck sex talk that I usually get when I get 069.